A woman steps out into the bright sunlight, stretching her arms and wondering if her medicine's success means she can finally buy a gift for her daughter Haniel. Suddenly, she bumps into a hard chest. A tall man in a dark, noble uniform towers over her. He stares down intently and asks who she is. Sierra stares back, her mind racing as she recognizes the face. It's Casius. Memories flood her mind. He was her academy friend, a one-night stand, the guy she dated for about a month. Casius looks at her with a pained expression and whispers that he had no idea she was here, raising their child alone. Sierra stands frozen, unable to process the absurdity of his statement, when a little girl runs out of the building shouting for her mom. Haniel hugs Sierra's leg tightly. The villagers begin to gossip, whispering about the nobleman and wondering if he is Haniel's father. Haniel looks up innocently and asks who the man is. Sierra looks at Casius, thinking that in this moment, he is nothing more than a stranger. The memory shifts violently to the past. Casius stands in a fencing uniform, the top of the Academy's club, the sole heir to the Idios dukedom, a man destined to be a swordmaster. Sierra remembers waking up in a sunlit bed, disheveled and confused. Casius lies next to her, smiling softly, asking if she slept well. Internal panic consumes her as she realizes she has no memory of the previous night and has slept with her friend. She tries to escape the situation, stammering that they were both too drunk and should just forget it ever happened, insisting that neither needs to take responsibility. Casius interrupts her frantic rambling, grabbing her hand and asking if she will be his lover. Sierra freezes, her jaw dropping. Casius looks away, blushing deeply, and admits that yesterday was his first time. Sierra's mind descends into chaos. She realizes that if she refuses, she might be punished for mocking a noble, but she is also bewildered that such a handsome man was inexperienced. Trembling, she stammers out her agreement. She decides in that moment to take responsibility, accepting his proposal purely out of pity. The memory of that drunken mistake lingers, striking Sierra with such force that she clutches her head, recalling how she couldn't even look at alcohol for a while afterward. After the flashback, Casius drops to his knees, his face crumpled in devastation as he insists the fault lies entirely with him. Sierra panics, shouting at him not to kneel, her mind racing because she knows exactly what he is thinking. He looks up at her with soulful, apologetic eyes, asking if he doesn't even deserve the chance to apologize, and the guilt drives Sierra to the brink of insanity. Her internal turmoil is interrupted by the sound of footsteps and a small, hesitant voice cutting through the tension with a single word. "Dad?" The bright reality of 5-year-old Haniel standing before them, radiating innocence amidst an aura of floating hearts. Sierra stares in shock, stunned that Haniel used that word, while simultaneously acknowledging the undeniable resemblance between the Duke and the child. Haniel studies Casius closely, comparing his face to the illustration of a prince in her storybook, realizing he looks exactly like the character Mom reads about. But the wonder vanishes in a split second. Haniel waves her arms frantically and screams, demanding the bad man go away. The rejection hits Casius physically, and he stammers, pleading with the child, insisting that she might not understand the situation yet. Haniel dissolves into tears and screams, causing the nearby villagers to stop and stare. Sierra's blood runs cold as she realizes the danger. If a commoner disrespects a duke, the penalty could be death. Casius steps forward, his boots crunching on the ground, but Sierra instinctively shields Haniel with her body, steeling herself for the worst while trying to de-escalate the situation. Casius, however, vows to protect both of them, formally declaring himself as Casius, the Duke Idios. Haniel ignores the title and continues to scream that he is a bad man. Sierra tries to soothe her daughter, noting she is too excited, but Haniel delivers a scathing indictment, shouting that if he was going to regret it, he shouldn't have abandoned them in the first place. The crowd erupts into whispers, judging the nobleman for abandoning his child and returning years later. Amidst the public scrutiny and Haniel's accusations, Casius looks desperate, begging Sierra not to run away in the meantime. Sierra manages to retreat, pulling Haniel back to the safety of their home. Once inside, the adrenaline crashes, and she leans against the wall, sighing deeply. She realizes she has nowhere to run anyway, given how humble her pharmacy is. But as she stands in the quiet of her home, a darker truth surfaces in her mind. She looks at her reflection and admits the terrifying reality. Haniel isn't even her biological child. Her memory drifts to her older sister, Amel, a powerful archmage with flowing pink hair. 5 years ago, Amel appeared with a baby in her arms, a child she had had with a man Sierra had never met, and entrusted the infant to Sierra. Amel then vanished, cutting off all contact to protect them, leaving Sierra to raise the girl alone. The heavy memory fades as the real Haniel calls out from the basin, proudly announcing she washed her hands all by herself like an adult. Sierra forces a smile, praising her daughter's cuteness, but then questions the girl, asking how she could call a man she just met dad. Haniel innocently replies that she thought she didn't have a dad, so when one showed up, she simply used the word. Haniel beams, declaring that she only needs Mom Sierra, but then repeats the story Sierra fed her, that her real parents are working far away because of unavoidable circumstances and will be back soon. The innocence in Haniel's voice strikes Sierra like a knife. She flinches, the weight of the deception crashing down on her as she screams internally that it is all a lie. Recognizing the complexity of the mess she's in, Sierra resolves that she needs to uncover the truth of what happened in the past. Haniel happily bites into a fresh croissant, humming with delight as crumbs fall onto her dress, but a sudden knocking sound interrupts her snack. She looks toward the window to see Abel, the silver-haired wolf shapeshifter raised by her aunt at the magic tower, waving enthusiastically through the glass. As the household's errand boy and guard, he beams a bright smile, announcing he has important letters for them. His cheerful demeanor falters slightly as he whispers the contents to himself, noting a notice about a rent increase for the pharmacy and yet another unwanted love letter. Inside, Sierra sighs, clearly exhausted by the relentless harassment hidden within the mail. Abel's attention snaps back to the window as he notices a commotion outside in the yard. He wonders aloud if it is the Archmage, but quickly realizes it is a group of uniformed knights belonging to Duke Casius Idios. Sierra is confused, wondering why the Duke's forces are in their small village, while the knights themselves whisper in confusion about their deployment. Sensing the urgency, Abel volunteers to investigate the situation immediately, flashing a confident grin and promising to return within a day. Sierra thanks him, telling him to be careful, and as he dashes off, Haniel sits quietly at the table, watching the adults with wide eyes. That night, moonlight streams into the bedroom where Haniel lies awake next to her mother. She watches Sierra blink slowly, the weight of exhaustion and stress visible on her face. Haniel deduces that the bad letters are the cause of her mother's sadness and silently decides to take action. She slips out of the covers, tiptoeing across the floor and hopping down the stairs. She skips through the dark house until she reaches the large, imposing door of the study. Gritting her teeth, she reaches up and struggles with the heavy handle, groaning with effort until the latch finally clicks. With a flash of magical blue light, the door swings open and Haniel steps into the room, spotting the letters on the desk. She climbs up and reads the cruel ultimatum: pay the increased rent or leave. Terror grips her as she realizes being kicked out would mean death for her and her mother. Desperate for a solution, she decides they need help immediately. She dashes out of the study and sprints through the house, pushing open the front door and running out into the cool night air. In the garden, the knights are still standing guard, whispering and shrugging at the strange situation. Haniel approaches them, leaning in to catch the attention of a tall knight. She looks up with serious eyes and asks the stranger if he is rich. The knight chuckles, amused by the question, and admits he isn't, but clarifies that his master, Duke Idios, certainly is. Haniel's eyes widen as she connects the name to the meanie her mother spoke of. She points an accusatory finger, declaring that Duke Idios is the meanie, causing the knights to panic and frantically try to shush her before she causes a scene. Suddenly, a dark, imposing figure looms behind the panicked knights. Duke Casius appears, his expression unreadable as he asks what is going on. The knights turn pale, terrified that the infamous merciless swordmaster, the mad dog of the battlefield, will punish the child for her disrespect. They stammer apologies, begging for mercy and pleading that she is just a young child who made a mistake. Casius ignores their trembling pleas and steps forward, silently dropping to one knee to bring himself to Haniel's eye level. Haniel stares at the man, recognizing him instantly as Daddy, but she pushes the thought away, remembering he is the meanie who never visited for 5 years. She decides to hold back her secret for now, warning him that he will be in big trouble if he doesn't listen to her. She points a small finger at his chest and commands him to do whatever she says. To everyone's shock, Casius smiles gently and agrees without hesitation. Haniel jumps back, startled by his immediate compliance, assuming he must be scared of her. Seizing the opportunity, she thrusts the crumpled letters toward him. She shouts that these papers make her mommy stressed and demands that he deal with them. With a final, defiant humph, she whirls around and marches back toward the house, leaving the Duke alone in the garden. Casius stands and unfolds the crumpled paper, his eyes scanning the message. It is a threat from the landlord, Hans, announcing a rent hike and creepily suggesting that Sierra move in with him instead. Rage flares in Casius's eyes as the paper crumples in his tightening fist. He is furious that a man dared to threaten them, and heartbroken to realize that Sierra and Haniel have been living in such vulnerable conditions. He clenches his hand, blaming himself for failing to be someone Sierra could rely on in the past, and vows into the silence of the night that from now on, he will shield her from any and all hardships. Sunlight filters through the green leaves as birds chirp to welcome the morning. Sierra stretches her arms high above her head in bed, letting out a satisfied sound as she wakes up. She rubs her eyes, reflecting on how chaotic yesterday was, but feels she has put some order to her thoughts after sleeping on it. Her mind races through the confusion. Haniel mistaking her for a mother, Casius thinking Haniel is his daughter, and the pressure of keeping her sister's secret. She sighs, thinking it all feels like a trashy soap opera, and lets out a dry laugh before slipping out of bed. She pauses, realizing the spot beside her is empty. "Haniel?" she calls out, surprised the child is already awake. The door creaks open, and Haniel peeks inside with a nervous giggle. Haniel looks at Sierra with wide, trembling eyes and asks, "Did you get in trouble?" Sierra gasps, assuring her she didn't, but Haniel begins to sweat and panic. Suddenly, the child screams, "Stop! Go away!" and scampers down the hall. Sierra watches her running feet, puzzled, but relieved that Haniel doesn't seem hurt. She smiles, deciding to get ready for kindergarten and see what information Abel brings today. Stepping outside, Sierra pauses, noticing her house seems to be shimmering and sparkling more than usual. She spots the pharmacy's landlord fidgeting nervously near the entrance and assumes he is there to pressure her about rent again. Sierra marches up to him, hands on her hips, and declares she won't pay more rent, reminding him the law protects tenants. The landlord sweats profusely, denying he is there to raise the rent. He hands her a document with trembling hands. As Sierra looks at it, he drops to his knees, begging her to take it and apologizing profusely. Sierra reads the paper, which states that Mr. Scrooge will let her use the building free of charge for 1 year. She looks up in shock, asking, "What?" Which causes the landlord to panic, fearing 1 year is too short. He throws 2 fingers in the air and shouts, "Then let's make it 2!" He bows deeply, declaring she is exempted from rent for 2 years. Terrified, he zooms away, begging for mercy, while Sierra calls out to him in confusion. She stands in the yard, wondering if he hit his head. Later, inside the pharmacy, the door jingles as Sierra works. She mixes potions efficiently, the shop sparkling clean. She cheerfully thanks a customer. Nearby, a group of women gossip about the news regarding the middle-aged man, Hans, who used to harass Sierra. Sierra listens as they slam a mug down, recounting how he used to claim she'd never find another man like him. Sierra thinks with disgust that she doesn't want one. The women reveal that Hans turned out to be a criminal and was arrested. They celebrate that he might rot in prison for the rest of his life. They offer sympathy to Sierra, who laughs awkwardly. Internally, Sierra notices a suspicious pattern. She imagines a dark-haired, wolf-eared figure growling protectively and realizes everything is working in her favor, but the sudden good luck makes her anxious. She glances at the clock and realizes it is time to pick up Haniel. Sierra arrives at the kindergarten and gapes in shock. The building is glowing with magical light and floating petals. Haniel dashes out, shouting, "Mommy!" Sierra catches her, asking what happened. Haniel beams, explaining a fairy came and went foosh, making everything prettier. Sierra is skeptical, wondering where they got the money to hire a mage in such a remote village. The head teacher approaches, clasping her hands and thanking Miss Sierra warmly. Sierra is confused by the woman's sudden kindness, recalling how she used to look down on her for being poor. The teacher clasps Sierra's hands, amazed that she remodeled the whole kindergarten. Behind them, other mothers whisper jealously, wondering where a penniless widow got the money for a donation. They speculate she found a rich aristocrat and sneer that she should know her place. Haniel hears the muttering weirdo. Furious that they are speaking this way in front of a child, Sierra glares and strides toward them, imagining giving them a taste of her power potion. The teacher flinches, asking what she wants. The teacher hurriedly explains that Sierra didn't fix the place herself, but that noble knights built an extension under her name. Sierra pauses, repeating, "Noble knights?" The teacher points to the village, explaining the knights are camping nearby and are from a distinguished ducal house that won the Monster War. Sierra looks up at the crest on the building. She recognizes the golden sun and red design instantly, realizing exactly who is responsible. Casius? Sierra instructs Haniel to stay with her teacher for a moment, her tone firm but gentle. She steps away from the schoolyard, scanning the surroundings until she spots suspicious movement in the foliage. She lunges into the bushes, shouting, "Got you!" as she apprehends the eavesdropper. The knight stumbles back, letting out a startled cry, while Sierra demands to know where His Excellency the Duke is right now. But the Duke reappears before her, standing tall and composed. Sierra stares at him and remarks dryly, "Finally, you are here, Your Grace, the Duke." She confronts him immediately, asking if everything that happened today was his doing. Casius beams with pride, shouting "yes" as sparkles of accomplishment surround him. He lists his benevolence, making the home free, kicking out the riffraff, and ensuring our kid is alive. He looks genuinely confused by her lack of enthusiasm, asking, "Wait, isn't all of this good for me?" Sierra ignores his question and asks if they are suddenly calling each other on a first-name basis. Casius smiles charmingly, but Sierra cuts him down with a sharp revelation. She states flatly that Haniel is not her daughter. Sierra explains that there is no reason for him to feel guilty towards her or do any of these favors because, in the first place, Haniel is not her daughter either. She delivers the undeniable truth. I've never been pregnant. Casius looks struck dumb, his composure shattering. Sierra clarifies that Haniel mistook her for her mother at a young age. She implores him to please leave her alone, insisting that he has to leave because of this misunderstanding. Casius, looking heartbroken and confused, asks what kind of misunderstanding this is. Sierra points out that the child doesn't resemble her at all, but looks just like him. Casius stares at her, his expression intensifying. He reaches out and grasps her hands, declaring, "Sierra, I'll do everything you tell me to do, except leave you." He confesses that he never intended to leave in the first place. He reminds her that there is still time left until the promised week concludes. Later, inside the house, Abel leans over a table telling Sierra that the situation is worse than she feels. He exclaims, "Ah, right, sis," and reveals a shocking detail about Duke Casius. He tells her that it seems the Duke has been searching for Sierra for over 5 years. Sierra sits frozen, repeating the words in disbelief. "For me? For 5 years?" She realizes Casius has been looking for her ever since her sister cast the barrier around the entire place to protect the village. This barrier prevented anyone without ties to the supernatural village from entering. Abel explains that Casius, known as the mad dog of the human realm, has been researching and searching for a specific woman for 5 years. Sierra points at herself questioningly, and Abel confirms it. He reveals the motivation behind this relentless search is because of a one-night fling. Sierra is incredulous, shouting, "Does that make sense? He has been searching for a woman he only dated for a month for 5 years?" Abel notes that he heard the Dios family is very prestigious and surmises that as long as Casius thinks of Haniel as his child, this situation is going to continue. Sierra buries her face in her hands, wondering if it is even possible to resolve this. Abel, sporting a mischievous grin and twitching cat ears, suggests they take special measures. He holds up a large book and announces, "Ta-da! We're going to do a paternity test." The book details a paternity test kit developed by a kingdom's medical team using metal, which has become a hot topic. The text explains it is an innovative kit that takes only a few months to distinguish between noble and illegitimate children. Sierra declares triumphantly, "This is it, the way to prove my innocence." Comment if you want part 2. Please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell.